Hello children, today we will talk about a poetry, the ball poem. The ball poem written by John Berryman. John Berryman was an American poet and scholar. He was a major figure in American poetry in the second half of the 20th century and was considered a key figure in the confessional school of poetry. His best known work is the Dream Songs. The ball poem. In this poem, a boy loses a ball. He is very upset. A ball doesn't cost much, nor is it difficult to buy another ball. Why then is the boy so upset? Let's read the poetry to see what the poet thinks has been lost and what the boy has to learn from the experience of losing something. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What, what is he to do? I saw it go merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There it is in the water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude on him. A dime another ball is worthless. So now he senses first responsibility. In a world of possessions, people will take balls. Balls will be lost always, little boy, and no one buys a ball back. Money is external. He's learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of loss, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know and most know many days, how to stand up. Let's see the central theme of the poem, the central idea of the ball poem. The poet watches a young boy playing with his ball. The next minute, his ball rolls away from him and falls into the water of the harbor. As the boy watches his ball disappear, he can also feel his childhood slip away from him. He feels himself growing up very fast as he learns that loss is a part of everyday life and that life goes on despite it. The sight of the sad little boy pains the poet, but he knows that growing up is an unavoidable process. There are two themes of the ball poem. First is loss of innocence. For the little boy in this poem, his ball is the first thing he has ever held dear. However, he has never seen considered the possibility that he might one day lose his ball. It is only when that happens that he realizes that it was his responsibility to keep the ball safe and that he has failed. The boy quickly realizes that everything he will ever own will be his responsibility. He also realizes that things will get lost from time to time and money simply cannot replace them all. As he is learning these lessons, he is growing up. He will never again be as innocent he was before the loss of his ball. He will never be naive enough to not feel the pressure of his responsibilities. This is a very painful thing for the poet to watch. The second theme is loss of a loved one. This poem has a surface meaning as well as a deeper meaning. If we read between the lines, we will see that the ball symbolizes our family or friends whom we love, and the loss of the ball symbolizes their death. As we grow older, we will become more and more accustomed to seeing our loved ones die. We will learn how to deal with such a loss and to move on from it as well. Death may grieve us or cause us to feel depressed, but sooner or later we must overcome those feelings and start living our normal lives. Let's see the tone of the ball poem. The tone of this poem is very somber and sad. The poem in which the poet describes the boy's feelings upon losing the ball makes us feel great sympathy for the boy. Even more than that, we can all relate to the experience that the boy is going through. That is perhaps why the poem does not overly depress us. The resignation that the boy feels can also be felt by us, since death is not something that any man can escape. Let's see literary devices. The very first is personification. Personification is a figure of speech which shows attribution of a personal nature or human characteristics to something non human. In the poem, the poet describes ball merrily bouncing down the street. Merry means happy. It is a human attribute which is given to the ball. Metaphor. It is a literary device in which a word or phrase is symbolically applied to a thing to which it is not literally applicable. In the poem, poet says, balls will be lost always. Balls here symbolize possessions which we lose. It also refers to the childhood which, if lost, never comes back. Next is apostrophe. It is a literary device in which a person is addressed who is either dead or physically not present. In the poem, the boy says, balls will be lost always, little boy. The boy is physically not present with the poet. Next device is repetition. It is a literary device in which a word or a phrase is repeated two or more times. In the poem, the poet repeats the word what in two lines. What, what is he to do? Alliteration. It is the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. Example, who has lost his ball? What is he to do? No one buys a ball back. The deep and dark floor of harbor. Move my mind and my heart move with all that move me. Ensemblement. It is the continuation of a sentence which, without a pause beyond the end of a line, couplet, or stanza. For example, I saw it go merrily down the street. Next is symbolism. It is the use of symbols to represent ideas or qualities. In the poem, ball and balls represent childhood possessions and even the father of the poet. Next is transfer epithet. This device is used when an emotion is attributed to a non-living thing after being displaced from a person, most often the poet himself or herself. In this poem, the poet uses the device of transferred epithet in the 15th line where he writes the phrase desperate eyes. It is not that eyes of the boy are sad, but that the boy itself is sad and that his eyes are expressing that emotion on his face. About rhyme scheme, the poet does not follow any identifiable rhyme scheme in this poem. This is all in this poetry, children. Thank you.